This is how much I spent last year from one of my expense accounts, and it's 12% more than I budgeted for. Every year we spend thousands of dollars buying different items. Some of those items are necessary buys, but sometimes we have quite excessive or unnecessary items on our list. And even worse, we have things that we never use. In 2022, the average annual expenditure for households in the USA was close to $73,000. And of that, $18,000 was spent on unnecessary items. That's close to 25%. Imagine throwing 25% of your spendable income into the bin. 25% is not insignificant. So in this video, I wanted to share 11 ways that I am reducing my spending and also getting financially healthier for the year ahead, especially given that I no longer have a 9-to-5 job and I am now living off my investments. First thing to avoid this year is the free shipping trap. How many times while shopping online have you tried to hit the free shopping quota just so you get the service? I've done that so many times, and it's actually a psychological trap that works wonders for retailers, and it's essentially why they keep offering it. We get into the habit of spending more on items than we intended to ensure that we hit that spending limit and we get free shipping. But what we sometimes forget is that this is a numbers game for retailers, and so the shipping cost is already embedded in the cost per item, and this is why we need to break ourselves free from this psychological trap of free shipping. The second thing is not asking. I'm actually ashamed to disclose what my internet speed has been for the past 10 years as of January. I live in an area where unfortunately our internet provision is archaic. It literally feels like we're in the Stone Age. And although I would often check with my service provider, I always got the same response. Your home is being afforded the fastest internet within your area. To tell you how slow my internet has been, it literally takes me up to 13 hours to upload a 10-minute YouTube video. Whew. YouTube is not a joke. However, at the dawn of this year, I decided I wanted to try something different. And so I called up my service provider yet again, and I was very lucky to have spoken to a very wonderfully informative and kind lady. And she practically said to me, "I'm really sorry, but you literally don't have internet because your guaranteed speed is literally non-existent." And in the middle of the conversation, she then says to me, "Well, you can actually upgrade for 9 times faster speed and pay less each month." Now, this was a small but mighty miracle given where I'd been for the past 10 years. So as of a few days ago, I now have better internet speed at a lower cost. So always ask and keep asking, because you never know when it's time to cross that chasm. The coupon trap. You don't need to shop because you have coupons. Remember, for most retailers, if not all retailers, the number one thing they care about is increasing sales numbers and hitting those revenue targets. So these coupons happen to be a fantastic way to entice you to buy more, because psychologically you're thinking, well, I'm actually saving money. The best way to save money is to not spend it. Number 4, simplifying your wardrobe. Now, I love a great outfit. I really do. But the older I've gotten, the more I appreciate the mental clarity and just sanity that comes from simplifying my wardrobe. Now, the common myth and misconception is that because you've simplified your wardrobe, you're now spending less. Not necessarily, because sometimes simplifying your wardrobe might tempt you to buy more of the same things because you want to keep things simple. The aim, however, would be to make one-time good quality purchases that will stand the test of time and remain timeless and chic. And in the past, I would sometimes buy similar items because I had so many clothes that I couldn't see everything, and so I didn't know what I had and what I didn't. I was really bad. Now that I have a leaner wardrobe, I have a better understanding and appreciation for the clothes I have. I wear them more and I don't shop excessively anymore. Consider buying Preloved. Now, hold on. Before you click out of this video or look down on this point, if you're buying a house that isn't a new built house, you're buying a house that's pre-loved. Now, I'm not suggesting that you buy raggedy old items that don't make you feel your best, but sometimes you can find some fantastic deals online. 3 years ago, I was in need of a new smart black coat, and I purchased a black coat from one of my all-time favorite brands, and it usually retails for £1,150. I got the same coat from a luxury lover at £80, and that was because she was relocating to a warmer climate and had to sell off her entire winter wardrobe. So don't sleep on sites like eBay or Etsy or Preloved sites, because you can find some needed essentials at a fraction fraction of the price. Avoid the pink tax, especially for ladies. Now, the term pink tax comes from the extra amount of money that is charged by retailers on items that are marketed towards women. I would recommend reading the labels on products and consider buying generic brands, especially if they have the same ingredients or functionality as named brands. That way, you could potentially be saving yourself thousands of dollars every single year. Use up all of your products and simplify your routines. For a short time, I practiced the 18 steps towards getting glossier and glassier skin, and that was because my skin was a priority. It still is, but I'm very sad to report nothing significantly changed. Any improvements I saw in my skin came much later when I changed my diet. Now I opt for less items, however, more natural or organic products that have the same ingredients as high-end brands at a fraction of the price. Number 8, the cost of paper. Now, this point isn't what you think. The cost of paper refers to missing essential payments because you are snowed under by paperwork from your billing companies. I rang my property management company last year because I was doing my expenses for my buy-to-let property and I thought I had missed a payment for October. And I literally had panicked because I thought I would be charged interest on the unpaid amount. And she said, "You're all good, all paid up, don't worry about it." So we had a bit of a chuckle. I had left a pile of paperwork to sort out over the Christmas period, but because I had my family members around and it was a bit chaotic in a good way, I had put those papers aside and completely forgot about them. So you can be charged avoidable interest on unpaid bills or tax returns just because you forgot about them. One way to go about this would be to call up your service providers and go digital, i.e. get all your bills in a digital format. Where that's not possible, what I like to do is put 3 reminders on 3 different days on my phone before the deadline. If I miss the first one, I'm sure to catch the second or third one. So bear in mind that the cost of paper can sometimes really add up. Bank and service charges. It is very essential that every year you review your bank statements and essentially go through any costs and charges that have been put forward by your bank. And if you must, go ahead and switch banks. Now, I love my bank and I've banked with them for many years. I have all of my important accounts with them, but I'm no longer as precious around a particular bank. I bank where it makes the most sense for my buck. And some banks will actually charge you not hidden costs, but costs that are buried in the very fine prints. So be sure to review all the terms and conditions and make sure you read through any correspondence that come through from your bank on an annual basis. Utilize a high yielding or savings account, not your checking account or your current account. Take advantage of high saving rates whilst they last. I'm taking full advantage of savings accounts and high yielding accounts whilst they last. And that's because inflation is still quite sticky and high relative to historical figures. But it's important to note that inflation is on the decline, and when inflation goes down, all things being equal, the central banks will start to curb or cut interest rates. It's actually already happening. Putting your excess cash or your emergency funds in a high yielding or savings account can do wonders for your bills and expenses on a monthly basis. The extra $50, £100 here and there can really make a difference when it comes to managing your annual expenses. The final point is to use an app. Now, I'm very old school and I have very young and hip nieces and nephews who remind me just how old I am. Up until 2021, I actually used physical books to track my expenses. Thereafter, I moved on to Excel, but now I also use an app in conjunction with Excel. It's so much easier. It tracks all of your expenses seamlessly, and most banks actually have this feature as part of their online offering. So if you decide to use an app to track your expenditure or your expenses, I would recommend that you carve out a specific expenditure account. You fund that account with your budget or your monthly or annual expenses, and the app then divides your expenses into different categories. So you can easily track on an annual basis how much you spent on entertainment, on food, on your housing, transportation, your bills, and other things. Let me know in the comment section if you have any specific tips that I haven't mentioned that you administer to your finances to make sure you are financially frugal as you invest in your future. I'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching.